Wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. It's wonderful to meet you.
And I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. 5 years ago, the pandemic was raging, changing everything. An epicenter was in Seattle. How did you make it through that pandemic of 2020, and how has it affected you now in 2025?
That was a big turning point for me. I was teaching in an institute. I had my own institute. I was teaching personal development, potential work. I had a year-long program that was interrupted in one day. We went from being in person to being online. So that was a huge shift. And I did what I preach, which is go with the flow, don't flinch, just keep on going. And I basically took this group through the process. They stayed with me for the entire 5 years
Oh,
online because I said, this is the biggest thing that has ever happened to us in our lives. This is the most disruption that we have ever faced. We're in a human potential process. Let's figure this out together. And for the next 5 years, we tracked the disruption in our psyches. We tracked the disruption in our life. And the goal was the intention, because when you're working with human potential, you're working with intention. So the intention was we are going to come out of this, and we're going to come out of this better than we went into it.
yeah,
We're going to reinvent ourselves. And I said at the beginning, I said, this is a 5 year process.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember in the beginning when it started, people were like, this could happen, last for years. And I was like, how? I think there was that level of denial we all had, you know, but it certainly did materialize that way. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. And the best way to do that is to put you in front of a bunch of kids. 12-year-olds, career day, the kid in the back of the room is like, hey, what do you do for a living? What's your answer?
I help people rise to who they're meant to be.
How does that get so clouded over?
I know. Isn't that just crazy? Because
Yeah,
12-year-olds would say, good,
yeah,
12-year-olds would say, that's what we want.
yeah,
When we graduate and we get on with our careers, we hope we are who we are now. We're having fun. We like each other. It's great. And then something happens. And what I think it is, of course, is that we're not equipped to enter the adult world um, in a way that we can hold on to ourselves. And so our ego, which is the function of our psyche that helps protect us, it just does all sorts of things to keep us safe. And then before you know it, we're disconnected from each other.
yeah.
We're not working in harmony. We're not working with the natural rhythms of the universe, and we're lost.
So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream job?
I didn't have a dream job, but it's a really interesting question because I didn't know that I would be going into the work that I'm going into. But when I look back at my junior high, um, the little annuals or whatever, the my friends would say, "You would be such a great psychologist. I hope you're a psychologist."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I guess this was meant to be.
So take me back to where you were born and raised. What do you feel were the foundational seeds or elements that were planted into you in your life early on that eventually got to this point where you're helping, leading people through the clouds to find themselves?
Really interesting story because there really wasn't much guidance in
Yeah.
terms of, I was raised in a time when parents said, you kids get out of the house in the morning and then we came back in the evening.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was incredible freedom, but it was 100% different than how I raised my son, which was, oh my gosh, don't go anywhere,
Uh-huh.
it completely different time.
Yeah.
But out of that came this sense of, well, for one, connection with nature, because I was raised on a lot of in the middle of 40 acres. So out of the house into the woods, jump over the tree line, slide basically down the cliff to the river. It was pretty much paradise on that level.
Yeah.
However, inside the house was a different story because my parents were young when they had us. They had 5 children in 5 years, which was, I mean, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. My mother was 25 when she had the fifth child,
Wow.
right? Can you
Yeah.
even imagine? And then 5 years later, my younger sister was born.
Wow.
And so they had a lot of stress. They had a lot, they really couldn't keep track of us, right? We were like little marbles trying to, they were trying to keep track of us. But um, so anyway, the basically I was really aware that inside the house, there was a lot of tension and there was a lot of love too, right? But it was
Yeah.
a lot of tension. Outside, complete peace,
Yeah.
complete peace.
Yeah.
I had that experience and that knowing. And then when I became an adult, I realized the entire world was like the inside of the house. and and that was not fun.
Yeah.
So that led me to, well, I mean, I was kind of a deep thinker anyway, but I had a spiritual awakening when I was 19 years old, and something popped open. I was under the stars and I had a download, and it became very clear to me that we can choose
Yeah.
and that it's absolutely imperative that we do choose. And so that took me into being a psychotherapist, and from a psychotherapist into an energy healer. Energy healer, I think it's more true to who I am.
Yeah.
Started an institute, started teaching human potential, elevating consciousness, and getting back to who we're meant to be.
So, do you remember one of your first clients, or do you remember the moment where you had an impact on a client you felt like I made the right choice? This is what I need to be doing with my life.
Every day, every day, because when people work with me, and I mean, I think this is true, when people work with anybody who wants to help them free themselves and be who they're meant to be, there is a huge shift that happens. And for the practitioner or the person that's helping, you can see that. And I don't think there's anything more rewarding.
So, when you look back on your life and everything that you've evolved to at this point, who has been kind of an inspirational force for you to consistently find who you are and define meaning in life, or a hero? Have you had one?
No,
Yeah.
no, um I've had interesting connections. I've had coaches that are just awesome. I mean, you know, uh every time I feel like I've been seen, right? That's a moment I think that you're talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But mostly I have gotten my sense of direction from the universe.
So, is there anybody alive right now on the planet that you find inspirational or fascinating that you would like to spend a little time with that might help you on your journey?
Ah, that's a really great question. I think I think there must be, in terms of I haven't met them,
Yeah.
but I think anybody who is who has broken through to higher and higher states of consciousness, those are, super interesting people.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What is it that motivates you every day to do the work you do? I mean, you have to step into heavy stuff, because when you're helping people get to the next step, there's heaviness that goes into it. How do you kind of insulate yourself, take care of your soul, and do the job to the best of your ability? How does that work for you every day?
So I have techniques that I use and that I practice, and they're energetic techniques. And, my way of living is to live in alignment as much as possible with my higher self.
Yeah,
And when I live with my higher self, when I'm in that alignment, I am protected. And so there's such when we work energetically, what we're doing is we're really building our psyche in a way that um, that moves beyond our body, right? So we have an energy field as well. And once we have that energy field in uh, organized, then whatever comes into it is transmuted.
yeah.
So when I work with people, the heaviness or the darkness that they're experiencing, I'm teaching them how to transmute it. So none of that really comes into me. I'm witnessing, but I'm not taking it on.
So for anyone out there that's listened so far that is curious, they may have questions. What's the point where someone should reach out to you and find out where they're like to discover they're in a fork in the road and they need to make a choice to get to a higher level of consciousness? What is that moment? I mean, I know it's not exact and cookie cutter for everybody, but what is that general urge that you would urge somebody to go ahead and reach out and take the next step?
I think it's a matter of being tired of living in chaos and saying there has to be more to life and saying to themselves, I'm curious about what it would mean to develop myself in this way. And I think it's either a curiosity or it's a pain. And, both lead to the same place, which is I'm, I don't think I'm quite on track.
Yeah. Living in this modern day and era right now, there's a lot of things that are very anxiety inducing and stressful for people. How do you remain hopeful? And do you find yourself hopeful for humanity right now?
I do. I find myself hopeful. In fact, I think this is the most exciting time in our lives. And the reason for this is that even though it looks like total chaos and it's super sad and heartbreaking, there's something else happening. More people are becoming aware. More people are saying, I'm kind of interested in developing my spirituality.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested now in, what have these people been talking about for so long when they're talking about energy and they're talking about higher dimensions and they're talking about connecting with the universe. So many people now, as opposed to 25 years ago when I started teaching this material, so many more people are interested. I think this is the fork in the road. I think people are waking up, and I think we are moving into this new era where we are going to live how we're supposed to be living.
So if you had a dream tonight and you ran into the 18-year-old version of you ready to charge out into the world to live your dream, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you've gained, what advice would you impart on that young version of you?
Ah, I would say don't doubt yourself.
Yeah. So
Don't doubt yourself because you were right on track,
yeah.
even though many times I didn't feel like the world understood me. And but now, oh my goodness, it's becoming mainstream information to be on a path like this.
So let's say you walk into a room of all of the clients that you've worked with throughout the years, and you could walk through that room to a podium and tell them one fun story. Maybe the first concert you went to, a wonderful travel experience, a place you went to that was magical, enchanting. Maybe the first concert you went to, just a fun story that might humanize you a little bit to the room. What would be a fun story you would tell that room?
Well, I like the story. The stories that I really like are the stories from my childhood,
Yeah,
right? From when I was super young.
yeah,
And, so this may not seem fun in terms of humanizing, like, oh, I went to this party and it was so fun and all that kind of thing.
sure.
Um, but but I don't really look for that kind of fun in
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
right? So the I've had some super magical experiences. And one of those was when I was just 6 years old. And I was out, basically walking through the pasture and trying not to get scratched by blackberry bushes
yeah,
and, that kind of thing. And I heard something and I looked over and I saw this little bird's nest in a bush. And I went to it and I looked at it, and there were 4 or 5 little baby birds with their mouths open.
yeah,
And it was just so incredible. And then the mommy bird came over and was feeding the little babies. And I looked around, and all of a sudden, I realized how magical life was.
yeah,
I think I felt love, right? I mean
yeah,
love
yeah.
on the big L, the big love.
Uh-huh.
And everything just it was unity consciousness for sure.
I love that. Yeah,
And that's what I try to help my people that work with me get to. Remember that. And because this is, I mean, think of what we can create
yeah,
if we all get back to that truth.
yeah. So at the end of the day, after everything that you've lived through, evolved to, and achieved in your life, what are you ultimately the happiest about, proudest of?
My son.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes. Yes, I was a single mom,
Yeah,
and and I raised him in the energy.
yeah,
And so there were some good and bad things about that, honestly.
yeah,
I probably would have done a few things differently because he ended up getting bullied at school, and I think it was probably because he was raised a little differently.
yeah,
Um, but now he's 25, and I could not be more proud of who he has become.
yeah.
And yeah, without a doubt, that's it.
So at the end of the day, Daphne, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, I think I am somebody who has had internal experiences that can help other people, and I'm absolutely dedicated to do that.
So that's a perfect lead into this. If anyone wants to reach out, they have questions, they want to hire you, your books, anything, where do they go? Where's the best place to go?
Well, right now I have a movement, and it's called Stewards of a Higher Bandwidth. And it is an opportunity for people to come in, and I do live teaching on online. So we talk about energetics, we talk about human potential. I help people actually take their vibration and frequency up to a higher level. A lot of professionals are doing this work, and they're getting a lot of good impact in their careers and in their organizations and in their lives. So I think just go to my website, and there's an event there that I invite people into to just experience it.
Yeah,
And then if you're interested, you can apply to the movement.
I love it. I will put those links in the show notes. Daphne, this has been
Thank you
absolutely
very
wonderful.
much.
Thank you so much for your story. I appreciate it. Best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we are out. Send my love to Seattle. Thank you so much for your story. I love it. It's
Great.
in this modern era of kind of being cognizant of mental health and just kind of that proverbial fork in the road we all went through. It's so good that messages and what you're doing is getting out there that we can go to another level. We have more control.
Oh, so thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Looking to
Yeah.
get new clients to your business through cold calling or email marketing? At Agency Y, they envision a world in which small and big companies have equal chances to win new customers in the market. Their purpose is to bring parity and reduce the gap between large and small firms with the help of their cold calling and cold email marketing services. Use the code Joe Dimino 10 at www.agencyyy.org/coldcallingjoe.php or www.agencyyy.org/emailmarketingjoe.php to get 10% off your first order. This is Joe Dimino of Neon Jazz and Famous Interviews, and I stand behind Agency Y to meet your business dreams.